Hello everybody, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. And in this video I wanted to talk about the class spawns that just came back out again. With these class spawns, I actually before I actually was making the video, I didn't even actually make it yesterday, but I was thinking of making it yesterday. I'm like, nah, I'm going to get some extra rest instead of actually making the video. I wanted to make it yesterday, but I think I needed the extra rest, to be fairly honest, because Saturdays usually end up, it's Friday this time, but Saturdays usually end up my busiest day, and I needed some extra rest. But anyways, I actually got to sit down and think about this class spawn even more, so I hope this helps out. So let's get into it. Okay, so with this class spawn, they took away the SSR rates boosted. That's a good thing, because they killed it. They absolutely killed the whole purpose in there being SSR rates boosted in the first place, let alone that already wasn't all too much of a good deal already. It just became a darn straight up ripoff. Like, there was no purpose in doing it whatsoever. They were just there just to be there at that point. They were just to look at. That's legitimately the whole purpose of them at a certain point. Instead, they brought back 32s to 33 costs, and I would recommend just ignoring those and don't even looking at those. Not worth your 60 gems. 60 gems is not something you could just easily come by. It's not going to be, you're going to have a stroll in the park, and it's going to be on the ground like a penny, and you pick it up. It's just like, hey, I got 60 gems. That's not how it's going to work. And for the cost they have and everything surrounding everything like gear orientated they have, for the skills of the gear that is, it's not worth it. Absolutely not. So we're going to be talking about the highest cost. The 33 cost plus guaranteed for the weapons, and then the 34 cost plus guaranteed for the armors. Okay, so with these, the best thing about these class spawns, absolutely, and the most phenomenal thing about class spawns that make them really, really good, absolutely, is for just 80 gems, right? For 80 gems, you're getting it infused 4 times. It's going to be, you're getting 1 ultra guaranteed, and it's going to be of the thing you select. It's not going to be the exact armor or weapon you want, but you're allowed to choose the class of the weapon, and you're allowed to choose which armor type it's going to be, whether it's going to be helm or it's going to be an armor plate. This is legitimately like one of the few of the best things in the game, because you're allowed to choose that. More than most of the time when you're spawning for any types of spawns, unless you're doing like metal exchange for treasure spawns, right? It's always going to be random. When you spawn, it's always going to be random what you're getting out of it. They legitimately cut down the randomness to the most important factors that you could possibly have, or like maybe the second most important factors. I'm not sure, but it's one of those two for sure, and that makes this class spawn personally a very, very good spawn. But on the flip side, the cost that it's guaranteed has been outdated for a long freaking time, everybody. A long time. So, though this does have really beneficial factors that just make it overall a great spawn, because the cost guaranteed is so low, I can't really recommend this all too much. Whether you're new, you're a mid player, or you're end game. I know before I said new and mid players do have fair shots at these, and these are recommended because they're guaranteed to help you. That is partially true. If you don't see you having any other chance in any other spawns, yes, that is true. I probably would recommend these, but by default, especially considering they're going to be bumping up the cost even more in maybe a month or two to 38 cost, I personally don't see these worth it anymore. Some of you might be wondering, especially you new players, or you players that are kind of unexperienced with everything surrounding Unison League, why would I be saying that when the cost is only 3 higher? Is that really a big stat difference, Azure? Let me show you, actually, because I'm not just talking about this for no reason. So, alright, so I'll show you weapons and armor and why it's worth it. Not worth it, my bad, not worth it. Okay, so the highest cost right now, 36 cost weapons. For some reason, the weapons are always 1 cost behind the actual highest cost. So the weapons are 36 cost at its highest right now. And then right now, as we speak, today, the armors are going to be at 37 cost. So 37 cost is the highest for armors, 36 cost the highest for weapons. Okay, so you can see right here, I got a couple 35s, 36s, and 33s. Okay, so before I actually move on from that, I forgot to talk about the class spawn and its rates and everything orientated around that. You are guaranteed 1 out of 10 of those to be one of the things they say, but the rates are actually going to be fairly low. SSRs, they used to have an 8% chance with these class bonds, took it away, so SSRs don't pop out as much as often as they used to. And with the class bonds, it has been all the data I've collected so far with these class bonds and everything surrounding it, just these types. Like, they had one before where it was SSR guaranteed and it was 35 and 36 cost. I didn't know how those were going to go, to be fairly honest. Those were like the first time, or like maybe one out of like the whole year they come out, so I kind of forgot. But these come out frequently, and how these work is usually almost always you're going to have a higher rates on the lower cost stuff. So the lower cost stuff is going to pop out the most. Even if there's only a few things that are lower cost stuff is going to pop out the most. You're going to have extremely high rates on the lower cost stuff. So that's why I'm saying, that's why I'm going over the 33s versus the highest cost of whatever it is. So now that I'm done talking about the rates, so now that you understand why I'm talking about 33s, let's actually get into why am I talking about why it's not worth it, even though it's only like 3 costs less than the actual highest cost. Okay, so as you can see right here, if you actually look, I got 2 33s to show you right here. I got one to the 4th infusion and one to the 5th infusion. Notice when I'm looking at both the 4th and the 5th infusion, right? It's literally a 6k difference in gear score. So like said, when I said the 4th and 5th infusion give the most gear score, they absolutely give the most gear score. Those 4th and 5th infusions, especially the 5th one, huge boost. I'm talking huge boost. The first three infusions sure do give a lot, but the hugest boost you will get from infusion is the 4th and 5th infusion. That's why they cost so much too. So if you're unaware of that, you're aware of that now. So anyways, moving on from there. Okay, so literally, there's only a 3 cost difference. As you can see right here, this is not even infused 4 times. Not even infused 4 times. This is infused 4 times, so it still doesn't have its bonus infusion. As you can see right here, this is actually, if you actually do the math, this is around a 12k difference between a 36 cost and a 33 cost. And I'm not even going over the max infusion. The max infusion, considering percentages play a big part now, thanks to like the 6th ring and the previous rings, and of course like the Zeno stuff right here, it's even a bigger gap. Once it gets to the max infusion, if you were to compare the two, there's even a bigger gap than I'm going to be talking about right here. But this is literally already between this 33 cost has its 4th infusion, and the 36 cost that doesn't even have its 4th infusion let alone, right? It's going to be even bigger once it actually catches up to the 4th infusion. So technically, this one has a head start. The 33 cost even has a head start. And still, with the 33 versus the 36 has a 12k nearly gear score difference. That is a phenomenal difference. That is a really big difference. And like I said, it gets even bigger if you were to compare both of them as max infused. So anyways, moving on from there. To actually go over armors, this armor right here is not even infused. It's a 36 cost. This armor right here is infused 3 times as a 33 cost. As you can see right there, infusion, it's getting 30 more levels to actually get even more gear score. That's right, it's getting 30 more levels to get even more gear score. So you can see the difference right there. 36, even though it's not even infused, still gives off more than a 33 that's infused 3 times. But 36 is not the highest for armors, that's only for weapons. 37 is going to be even bigger. So, imagine 37 compared to 34. It's going to be around the same gap as the ones I'm talking about right now, because technically in the class spawn, the highest is 34, and I'm only talking about 36 instead of 37. The reason I'm talking about 33 and 36 is because I don't really have 34 or 37 to compare with, so I decided to do 1 cost lower for the highest cost and then 1 cost lower than the class spawn to make up for it. As you can see right there, still has more gear score. So these higher costs phenomenally give off more gear score, absolutely, as you can see, than the class spawn gives. So if you have absolutely no way to actually get stronger and obtain higher gear score, like absolutely no way, like you're just straight down, just downright unlucky. Sure, if you're new or mid player, like you're in the middle, you're not exactly the end game, or you're not beginner level either, these are worth it, but they're really only worth it as a last resort. If they're not your last resort, I don't even recommend these for beginning players or mid players, because the highest cost is actually going to be within maybe a month or two. It's going to be 38 cost. Heck, maybe with even at the end of RGB, they might bump it up to 38 cost. They might just throw out the Valkyries and whatever 38 costs they have that you can upgrade from the lowest cost pool of monsters they have, and just say screw it. So very soon the cost is going to be even updated past that point, and they have done nothing for the step up spawns. The step up spawns do have a really nice system, but the issue with them is the cost is so low, the guarantee cost is so low, you're just not getting a good deal anymore. 80 gems is not something you could easily obtain. It's not worth, especially for you free to plays out there. Well, pay to wins and free to plays, unless you absolutely just spending this like on this game and you're not really losing anything, like you just got money to throw. Still, I wouldn't really all too much worth like recommend these. So as you can see right there, that is why I'm saying class spawns really ain't worth it if you or even are beginning or new player, because unless they're a last resort for you, because there are a lot of there's a lot of spawns out there that cost a lot, and it is completely random for some that are cheap what you're actually going to be getting. But as you can see right there, that's a huge gear score difference. So if you plan on becoming stronger, sure, this might be good starting off gear, but soon enough you're going to have to dump it and get better gear. As you can see there, it's nowhere near the actual it's not the max cost, and even with no infusions and some infusions for the 33 cost, the highest cost actually gives a lot more, like significantly more than the stuff that you would actually most likely, almost guaranteed, not guaranteed but almost guaranteed, are to get in the class spot. So the class spot's really only a stepping stool at this point, thanks to how the gear, the highest cost recommended, and that's really all it's for. If you're looking to become absolutely stronger, class spawn doesn't do it anymore until they actually update the cost guaranteed for it. So that's it for this video. Thank you for tuning in, thank you for watching, and I hope this helped out. This is the AzureWrath, and I'll catch you in the next video. I'm out. Peace.